Peace, peace, peace. Salute. What's good? It's your brother God Science up in here once again. Shout out, special salute to the few that do watch the video. Subscribe. Really appreciate y'all, true indeed. Just wanted to go in quick on back and forth that I had on YouTube. I don't know who, but basically it had to do with this. If y'all listen to hip hop, we know that Drake album dropped. And we know that Jay-Z is on the album. And if you've been in the YouTube streets, you've heard of DeHaven. If you haven't heard DeHaven, go watch Marcy Made. It's a nice documentary. Go check it out. Then you know who DeHaven is. Anyway, in that song, we all know that Jay-Z's talking about DeHaven. He didn't have to say his name. Anyway, so I was watching a video on that. And he was basically just responding to what Jay-Z said. And I agree with him on that video. Salute to that brother. He's doing his thing. And I just put something in the comments from a song that I forgot what feature it was, but Jay-Z basically was talking about a situation where he went, George Zimmerman is walking around, but we still killing each other and shooting kids. Streets is done. So I basically used that streets is done, and I just put it in the comments, yeah, man, streets is done. And I actually had like 2-3 people come at me talking about, nah, street's still here, man. Ain't everything the same? I'm like, what? Everything is the same. I said, okay, let me make a video and explain exactly what the hell I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to always be the streets. It's always out there. Is it the same? Let me say this. If you haven't lived in that time, I just turned 41 this year. God bless. You know what I mean? And I grew up seeing the evolution of hip hop, also the evolution of drugs. Growing up in Brooklyn, my cousin George was one of the biggest. He had drum machines before. He had everything basically. Dude was driving around in a Beamer because it was pumping that crack. That shit was different back then, yo. That drug dealer, dope boy, from the classic, the paid in full days, it's not going to happen again, man. It's not. There's too much informants. There's too much cameras, and it's just was a time. It was a special time back then. It's not going to happen again. So anybody who wants to challenge me on that, please take it to some OGs that you know that been out there and see what they say. Yes, it's still the same. Shit, I remember when we just got cars and we were teenagers, we were doing gas runs. You can't do that shit now. They ain't turning on that shit unless you pay. Yo, man, I just think it's like real ignorant to be like, no, it's still the same. It ain't too much camera. It ain't more cameras out there. Please knock it off, man. People didn't have cameras in their hands, so a lot of shit you didn't see. I mean, back then, we didn't get information about hip hop only from the source. The source was like the Bible of it. Now you can just go on you know, the internet changed everything. Look at Tekashi 6ix9ine. You think he will be able to be walking around in the late 80s, early 90s in Brooklyn? Hell no. It was not going down. Nobody was doing songs with him or nothing. Because it was a different culture back then. It was different. Even the music has changed. Where it was more about being creative, and not saying that doesn't exist out there, but not like how it did back then. That's why it's called a golden era for a reason. But I think it's real ignorant to say that it's still the same. Please, when were we shooting fucking kids? I mean, yeah, kids probably got popped in the streets and stuff, you know, back then. But they got fucking, you either turning yourself in or we gonna straighten that out. That's how it went back then. Now, you a snitch if you talk about the dude that popped the little kid. It's not the same. Crips killing Crips, blood. You can even go to and ask that. I mean, I knew people who not fake gangbanging. I mean real gangbanging. And like I said, music kept me out of a lot of stuff, man. If I didn't have that, I won't be here. I'm telling you straight up. And it's not the same. A lot of shit was different back then. You had people snitching. You had people snitching forever, but it was more loyalty. Now everybody for self. You can tell. You can tell how the music is. It's a reflection of how we are. You can tell how the streets are. It's a reflection of how we are. And it ain't like that anymore. So for these dudes out here, y'all either some youngins and y'all can hold on to that dream, go out there and do it. Probably ain't gonna survive unless for more than a month, thinking you're gonna open up a drug a cartel or some shit. Please, you're gonna be shut down quick. It ain't the same, okay? Dudes ain't even, look at the heroin. These dudes is not even pushing that. They're pushing fentanyl. They're killing their own customers. People didn't do that shit back then. Dealers had respect for their clientele. I used to know people who used to sell that shit. It's not the same. It's done. And if you're gonna go to the streets, now if you're some youngin that don't have guidance and you're going out there, I get that. You're going the wrong way. But if you like a in your 20s and 30s and then you decide to turn and go to the streets, something wrong with you up here. Cause that shit is not gonna last. It's done. And it's for the birds. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. What y'all think about the whole thing? Do you think the streets is the same as how it was back in the 80s, in the 90s? Please, man, it ain't. It ain't. Thank you guys for watching, man. Y'all leave your comments if you like. Subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Peace.